How's it now? Can you hear me?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
better. Can we start the session, sir?
Okay.
Okay. So, Lydia?
Yes, miss. Am I audible, miss?
Yes. Lydia will be comparing the session.
Okay, miss. So, good evening to one and all. I myself, Lydia Thomas, SAC student, co-chair at Design, welcomes you all to the CSI Weekly Talk Series. We gather here at every Thursday 6 p.m. to blast our knowledge. Today's session is on the topic Technology at the Heart of Business. I bid a hearty welcome to all those who took their valuable time and joined us today. So, let me introduce the session chair for the evening, Dr. Shilpa Bhaskaran. Currently, she is working as a research associate at the Bioinformatics Center at National Center for Aquatic Animal Health, School of Marine Science, Cochin University of Science and Technology. She holds PhD in Computational Biology and Bioinformatics from the University of Kerala, and she did her master's in Computational Biology after obtaining the bachelor's degree in Computer Science, both from the University of Kerala. And she's a member of CSI Trivandrum chapter, and she is also the research person of machine learning training programs organized by CSI. She also authored series of programming articles in CSI Communications. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you for the introduction. Good evening, all. I am thankful to the CSI Trivandrum chapter officials for giving me this privilege to chair today's talk, which is conducted as a part of the CSI weekly talk series. Our today's speaker is Mr. Salil Nair, who is going to talk on the topic technology at the heart of business. Basically, his area, business or finance, is not my area of personal interest, but as a person from computational background and as a person who enjoys and use the benefits of technology and is curious about the advancements of technology around us, I am also looking forward to the talk eagerly, like all other participants joined here. I understand that we have a lot of student participants, majority are student participants, I think. So before moving to the talk, let me read out the profile of the speaker. Salil Nair is the Chief Technology and Information Officer of Northern Arc Capital, the non-banking financial company located at Chennai. As Chief Technology and Information Officer, he drives the technology transformation and spearhead the digital initiatives for the company. Last year, in 2020, this company has won the Economic Times Award for the Best Digital Non-Banking Financial Company. Prior to this role, he spent 17 years at FIS, the US company which offers financial products and services. There, he headed the end-to-end IT operations for India and Southeast Asia. He has played a crucial role in implementing systems to launch banks, setting up private cloud for banking applications, and data center consultation for large financial services clients. So he's an alumni of University of Kerala. He has done his Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science and Engineering from University of Kerala and obtained his Master of Science in Software Systems from BITS Pilani. He's a very passionate person about the emerging technology, and his profile says that he's an avid traveler too. So on behalf of CSI Trivandrum chapter and all these online participants, I welcome Mr. Salil Nair for today's weekly talk. So those who have any questions may use the chat box during the talk, or else you can use the discussion time after the talk. So over to you, sir.
Sure. Thank you. Great to be here. So when I was asked if I can talk on something related to IT, enterprise architecture and how businesses handle technology is something which is very close to me. So I thought, why not talk about that? And one of the key things which is emerging is that business is increasingly becoming, the technology is becoming increasingly core to business. And I would like to talk to you as to why and how it is happening. I've just put a slide, so I'll just start that. Can you my window? the presentation?
Yes, sir, it's shared. It's shared. You can carry on.
Okay. Sure. So I'll start with a very dramatic fact. The fact is that 52% of Fortune 500 companies from the year 2000 are extinct. They are no longer in the list. What does that mean? That in the last 20 years, half of the companies have wiped out and they are no longer relevant. And if you look at what has happened in the last 50 years, typically companies had a lifespan of about 75 years, 50 years back. Any guesses on what it is today? As of today, it is just 15 years. To look at the transformation that has happened from 75 years, it has come down to 15 years. I'm finding it slightly tricky because there is no one whom I'm talking. I would appreciate if somebody can respond as we go on, right? If people are questions or an acknowledgement in it, would be very useful. Okay, so what exactly is causing this disruption to business? We are living in an age where we are being bombarded by various technologies. So these technologies are like social, mobile, it can be analytics, cloud, Internet of Things. So we keep hearing all these new age technologies which are coming up. And not just that, this is not the end of it. There are AI coming up, blockchain, then there is machine learning, biometrics, extended reality, and there is cryptocurrency. So all these technologies are bombarding us today. I feel bombarding because these are not invited guests. They just come in. And our job is to see how we can leverage on these technologies and get some value. And as we try to do that, there are newer and newer technologies coming up. So a recent study from Accenture has shown that technology adoption and business performance are very closely related. So companies who are really early adopters, who really adopt these technology changes and create some use it to their value, are also leaders in revenue growth. So this study has comprehensively found out that in each and every sector or industry, the early adopters of technology has got a very big lead in their revenue growth. So earlier companies used to worry about their Kodak moment. Kodak moment is the moment when Kodak couldn't realize that there are other new product line which has come in and they never saw that coming up. Today, that's not the case. Today, we talk about the Uber or the Ola moment. And that's the moment when we realize that we didn't leverage on these technologies which were available and somebody else did. And today, these technologies give a potential, or these convergence of these technologies give an opportunity to come up with new value propositions which were not there earlier. And people who can leverage on that are gaining momentum. They're gaining a lot more revenue. They are getting a larger share of the business pie. Whereas people who are the laggards are not really getting that business. They are perishing, in fact. So moving on. Any questions till now? So let's take a step back and understand what exactly happened. When did it all start? So this thing started with digitization or computerization. I hope a lot of you would have heard about this word, computerization. This was when we were looking at using computer to see how we can improve the business, how we can bring efficiencies. It started in the late 90s with the SAPs and the CRMs. These are the new age technologies coming up when we were in college. And it helped in standardizing the process. It helped in creating a master data. It helped in gaining visibility to transaction, and it also brought in a lot of efficiency. So efficiency and effectiveness is what basically was driving, was the general output from digitization and computerization. And these were led by the technologies of that time. So, for example, the maturity on the new technologies like data, relational database. So these were very critical for this big change. And this was great. Companies who did this had great operational excellence. And companies who did this were far more profitable compared to others. And this basically this became the operational backbone for each of these large companies. And a recent study says only 30% of the companies are actually ready with this operational backbone, even till 2 years back. So one of the classic example which we can all think about is Indian Railways. This is where, in the late 90s, Indian Railways were talking about computerization, how they were linking all these, and it has brought in a lot of efficiency, standardization in process, and they have a huge, their entire backbone is so effective and efficient that they are able to cater to a huge number of customers. So it gives scalability basically. But that is not digital. So, they have a website today, but that's not digital. So being digitized is a great place to be. And only if you are digital, if you are digitized or computerized, you can go and become digital. So so what exactly is digital? So digital means business innovation around products and services. These were non-existent till that time. These are new service offering, new value propositions. These are come up with experiments and a prototype kind of an approach, and these brings in new revenue streams. And typically, a digital can be defined as a solution which will engage the customer in a very enriched with data and a personalized experience. That is what digital is all about. So if you look at the examples which I mentioned earlier, like the Uber or the Ola or the Swiggy. So these guys, for example, taxi companies knew that they could give rides, but Uber knew that in a digital economy, it's not just that they can give ride. They can tell you where the driver is, who the driver is, when is he arriving, how long would it take for you to reach your destination, and how much will it cost, and it takes away the entire hassles of payment. As they even have a rating for both. The driver can rate the customer can rate the driver. So it's all a new experience, new service, new value proposition. So that is what digital means. And companies who have really become digital are the companies who have taken a larger share of the business pie, especially in the last 15, 20, last 10 years, to be more precise. So I'd like to take an example of Amazon. So in 1990, when Amazon started, they were a book retailer. Today, nobody sees them as a book retailer. So from being a book retailer, they actually looked at what are the new capabilities which are coming in. So they looked at social and said, why don't I start giving an opportunity to do book review? Or they looked at analytics and saw, why don't we take feedback, collective feedback, and give some ratings to these? Or they looked at mobile and thought, why not we come up with an opportunity for them, the user, to shop from the mobile. So all these, and they looked at AI to see how they can make it even more useful or even more easier to do the business. So with each technology, they were making it easier and easier for the user to not just buy books, but the whole lot of things. Today, the platform serves to lot many things. So much so that they were innovating so much so that they themselves are contributing to um, these technologies, these new age disruptive technologies. And AWS is a very classic example of that. So they have basically moved from being a book retailer to being a provider of personal convenience. So what do you think they will be doing in the next few years? Anyone, any comments? Have you ever thought what will happen? Where are we going? I mean, where do you think Amazon will go? Or what are the new conveniences that they will bring in? Any comments?
Students, would you like to make any comments? You can just unmute yourself.
They will give suggestions, studying the buying patterns of a particular user. They can give suggestions of what products you would like next. Already they give suggestions of, you might also be interested in such things.
Yeah, they already have AI which is giving auto suggestions. But I think they're leveraging on drone for deliveries. There are lot many things which they are trying. The way we are looking at they are going to make our personal life lot more convenient, and that can be in many ways. We don't know today, but that's what they are reimagining. So Amazon is basically reimagining how the lives will change.
So you have even a smart home manager, right? I don't know what it's called. Alexa, it manages.
Yeah, Alexa, lot many things are coming up. So this is another example which I would like to bring. I would like to talk about. This is about Blockbuster versus Netflix. So Blockbuster was the video rental champion when Netflix was founded in 1997. And Netflix had a business model. This is again in the late 90s where they were thinking about mailing in the video end user. And in fact, in the year 2000, the founder and CEO of Netflix wanted to sell the company to Blockbuster, assuming that he may not have, he doesn't want to put a fight with Blockbuster, but he want to work along with Blockbuster and take care of their online presence. But it never materialized for whatever reason. And look at where we are today. I mean, Netflix is valued at 203 billion today, and that's not because Netflix didn't change at all. They have been leveraging on all these new age technologies, reimagining the whole offering, and that has taken the company to a very different level today. And Blockbuster got closed down. They were basically a brick and mortar company, and they are not non-existent. And this is a classic example of what happens. So in spite of Blockbuster having a heavy advantage with a lot of money, and they could see these technologies coming in, but they couldn't leverage, and someone else leveraged it and took the entire business. So what has been happening over the years is the CIO's job and the CTO's job has been changing over the last 5-6 years. Till 5-6 years back, it was all about enabling business strategy. So there is a new, the company is doing a certain business, we have to do using technology. This was all about digitizing or computerization, and that only caters to your existing business. It will ensure that your current businesses are taken care. There is no point. There is no reimagination. There is no new solutions, new product offering. It's basically making the whole process more efficient and effective. So this was the main job of technology teams. And today, it has changed from enabling business to inspiring business. By inspiring business, I say the technology team or the technology group has to really inspire business to think of what can they come up with, what is that new that they can offer. So the role is fundamentally shifting from enabling business strategy to inspiring business. So what are the underlying capabilities? So we looked at all those technology offerings like social, mobile, analytics, IoT, all these. But what exactly are the underlying real capabilities? Have you ever thought about what exactly is triggering those changes? So to simplify what exactly these technologies are offering, the first and foremost one is ubiquitous data. What it means is data is, I mean, we are able to capture data anywhere, anytime. So it was okay for us to tell, I give a great product as a company, I give a great product to the customer, but I don't know what the customer does with the product. I don't know what about anything about their ecosystem, their competition, what they do, or who are their customers. That no longer, that is, you cannot say that any longer. Today, data is there everywhere. So if you don't know, we are supposed to go and find out. The data is, lot more data is captured, and it is captured at many places, and it is all available. So that is one big change. The second is the unlimited connectivity in today's world. This is primarily through connectivity, through mobile, through the new 5G network, high-speed internet. The connectivity has increased multifold. I still remember during my college days when 64 kbps internet was a big thing. Today, look at the kind of bandwidth we have. We are talking about 100 Gbps internet, and this bandwidth. So what is the simplified capability that it is giving? So you can know what the customer is doing, what is that customer is going, what all data is there about the customer. All that is readily available. We know that, and we can also know it now, right now, what is happening because of unlimited connectivity. So these two are the real capabilities which are changing the entire businesses. And this is actually backed by the massive processing power, which is basically the transistor capabilities that we have on these chips, which has been doubling every 2 years. So compare with respect to processing power 20 years back, we have gone multifold, almost 10 times, 10 times it's gone up. And this plus unlimited connectivity plus data is the real capability. So we really need to see how we can leverage on these capabilities and realign the business. So these are the sources of inspiration: ubiquitous data, unlimited connectivity, and massive processing power. So what is that we have to think about? Like, for example, these three are the simplified capabilities. With these three capabilities, how is that we are going to reimagine business? We have to look at what's the personal experience that we can give. How is that we can boost the current efficiency of the business model, or what is the powerful insight that we can get from data? For example, I'd like to give examples for all these. So for boosting efficiency, example is it's part of the Alibaba group. So they have reimagined the whole car insurance, how car insurance is done today. So if an accident happens, all you have to do is take your mobile, snap your few photos, and then upload it into their AI systems, which will go through this data. It will understand what exactly is the impact. It will, based on their AI algorithms, it will even identify what should be, what kind of claims should be processed. It will automatically upload the claim process to the insurance company, and it will also look at what are the repair shops nearby and connect you to them. So that is efficiency at a different level, and that is possible with these two different capabilities: data, connectivity, and processing power. Similarly, personalized experience. So as time goes, I mean, it's no longer experience for one person. Every individual is seen as a separate customer today by businesses, and companies who are able to do that are really thriving. So I was reading about Carnival Cruise as an example, where they were already in the experience business, right? And they have actually put in some 7,000 sensors in the cruise ship, which will capture data in real time. And each customer was given, when they board the ship, they were given a ring which they have to wear, and it will give you access to your rooms. It will help you connect with your friends, family. You know what is available where, and they were capturing a lot more data, which will help them further improve the customer experience. And one of my favorite is the insights which we get from data. So I use Microsoft, and every week it sends me data on how much time I have spent on meetings, how much of time I have spent collaborating with other people in the company, how much of quiet time I had. In fact, recently it even suggests that your quiet time is low and you need to find some quiet time for yourself. And it even asks, should we block the time in my calendar so that I get some quiet time. This was never possible till now. This was never a capability. Nobody had visualized about all this. And with these technology capabilities of data, connectivity, and processing, there are a lot many new experiences, new product offerings which are coming up. And this is completely altering the way businesses are done. And in fact, technology impacts businesses the most. And that's the example which I gave earlier, that 50% of the Fortune 500 companies are not there today. So what does it mean? I mean, so business leaders and technology leaders have to work together, and that's why I mentioned this. It's a shared goal for business and tech, primarily in terms of experience, efficiency, and insights. These technologies stay relevant, and every company is becoming a technology company. In fact, so much is changing that today technology is the business. And especially for India, which is a growing economy, there is a lot more which we can achieve. Especially there is huge potential with all these technologies available. And some of the examples you would have seen are UPI, which is the backbone for the entire Google Pay or the mobile payment space, which everybody is so familiar today. So there are a lot more potential in this space, and I think this will, in the coming years, this whole thing will explode. There are a lot many innovations which will come up. I'd like to end with a news item which I saw today morning, and I found it very relevant to the discussion we are having. The Ferrari, which is a car company, has hired a former Apple technology guy, the microprocessor expert, as their CEO. This was the news today morning. It's basically showing the shift from, so every company is, the car making company is also becoming a technology company. And unless we reimagine and think how we can build businesses around this, it's going to be difficult to stay relevant. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk about.
Thank you so much for that crisp but very insightful talk. Now it's the time for discussion. You can ask your questions or queries or comments if you have any. Participants, please come forward.
Thank you, sir, for that informative talk. In fact, for the first time when I saw the title of your talk, I was excited to see the word heart over there. Here is a business person who is speaking something from heart. So I'm very interested because why you use the word heart over there, because normally business people will talk everything in terms of money. I found your presentation is pretty different. Probably Shilpa will accept
Yeah,
that.
sure.
Uh, uh, you are speaking in terms of the words which we are familiar. So probably, you're talking about data, you're talking about connectivity, you're talking about the massive processing power, and I found you're really interested with the technology, and the talk itself is not business oriented. Probably you have tuned to for such an audience. I don't know. But here is my question. Anyway, I really enjoyed the presentation. Uh,
Thank you.
I found you are interested in finance automation and all. What do you think is the scope of Bitcoin as far as Indian market is concerned? Do you think that it will come fast into our market? Now itself, I have saw people actually involved in some small investment in Bitcoin and all. How do you take on this perspective?
So personally speaking, I'm not a big. I don't appreciate the way Bitcoin is being put today. Primarily, I mean, I understand what distributed ledger is, but basically, a distributed ledger for as a currency is going to open up a lot more problems than benefits in the near term. But maybe in the long term, it could be beneficial. I'm not an expert in the back end technologies, but fundamentally speaking, the currency is nothing but a promise, right? If you look at our currency note, all it says is, "I promise you to pay." And who is promising? It is the RBI governor who is promising to pay this much rupees. If you basically take this note and go to RBI, I don't know what he will give, but basically the RBI governor says that he promises to pay a value of rupees 100, and that is what the note is all about. And when it is since it is centrally governed, we all can trust that system of money and currency, and the entire economy is built on that trust. When cryptocurrency comes, who is managing cryptocurrency? We don't know. I mean, it is something. Um, there is a company who is managing that. So can we trust our money, our purchases through that? I don't know. Frankly speaking, I don't know. I think as a technology, there is a lot more potential for distributed ledger, but I'm not sure whether a decentralized currency is the right solution. A lot many people are coming up with similar cryptocurrency like Ethereum, Dogecoin, and I see that a lot more people in India are investing in it. And those investments are primarily as a foreign exchange. It's like a foreign exchange, right? You assume that the value of the currency will go up and you are buying that currency. So it's a very what is that? It's still in the initial days. People are speculating over how the future will be, and that's why you see big swings in the price. Um, I don't know whether cryptocurrency is the right solution. Anyway, if at all it has to be done, it has to be done by a centralized authority like the government of India. Only then or the Reserve Bank. Only then it'll make sense. That's my view.
Thank you, Sir. Thank you.
So, any more questions? students. I'm looking forward for the questions from students because they might be the aspirants of technology and they might have the business dreams. So you can use this opportunity.
So I'm not sure whether I conveyed the whole clearly. If there are any questions around that, also please feel free to ask.
Hello, good evening. This is Abdul Halim
Hello.
from PKMC
Okay.
Chemical 99 batch.
Okay, cool.
Okay, how are you? Yeah.
Good.
Now, I want to make a comment that is the speed at which the technology is progressing. That I explained that is generally applicable to the urban areas, but when it comes to the village or rural areas, we still have to admit that it is still lacking.
Yes, true. Changes take some time, right? It starts from, it has a birthplace and then it moves to various places across the globe. For example, um, uh, the way I see technology, all the innovations are happening somewhere in United States, in California, and it used to take 15, 20 years for it to reach India. But as time passes, even that movement is faster. So, so these new age technologies will come and it is faster and faster as time progresses. So your observation is correct. It was taking a longer time, but as time passes, even that window is reducing, and it's reducing very fast. Because mobile and connectivity are going to ensure that the whole world is connected and everything happens in close to real time. So it will not stay the current way. I mean, think these changes will hit us faster as time progresses. We don't know what it will be like in 2025, right? Nobody knows. But these new age technologies will come and hit us, and there'll be a lot more benefit for us, and that's why we will adopt it, right? If it is not beneficial, people are not going to adopt it. And every company is reimagining what they can do with these technologies.
Yeah, fine.
Did I answer?
Anyway, yeah. The second thing is that nowadays this blockchain technology is coming up.
Yep, that's the same question which we talked about. Blockchain. There is a lot of fancy around blockchain, and particularly what I'm observing is in India there is a lot more conversation about investing in cryptocurrency. A lot of speculators are investing, and I think that is generating a lot of interest in the whole technology. I don't understand how the distributed ledger works. I understand how relational databases work. I've been trying to work with a vendor who is providing a blockchain technology, but I still haven't got a complete understanding of how blockchain works. Primarily because it's decentralized, and that's something which I'm not able to come to terms with even now.
But as far as the security is concerned, they say that decentralized is better.
That's the point which I answered earlier. That our system today, the entire economy is built by us over a long period, primarily with the assumption that we will cooperate together and create a central governing authority which will help every one of us. And if suddenly, if those are not the agencies who will be in control, and it will be some other third party agencies who can run it in their own way, so then I don't know where we are heading to.
Okay, fine. Anyway, thank you for Thank you for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abdul sir. In somewhere you have mentioned that the Indian economy is growth is increasing. So we read somewhere that sometimes we read that the growth is not up to the standard by the growth is not increasing based on many standards. So I would like to hear your view on the real view on this in growth of this Indian economy. Is it an artificial boost or is it really increasing?
So Indian economy is growing primarily with the help of consumption. I mean, we have a huge population of 130 crore people, and if everybody consumes in a big way, consumes in the sense any kind of services, it can be buying a car, motorcycle, or any of the other consumption, general, except the minimal groceries. Of if everybody travels, everybody goes by flight. So there are a lot many potential for India as a market. India is a huge market, and that's why all these foreign companies are coming to India. However, there are certain things, especially in the last 2-3 years, we haven't capitalized on that opportunity the way we should have. And primarily, COVID or the whole pandemic has adversely impacted us. Even otherwise, I think generally we are not consuming. I mean, the general mentality is not to consume a lot. We would like to reduce our consumption. We would like to save our money. And I think that is not going to help us in the long run. The real change will come when everybody is confident about the economy tomorrow and everybody starts spending more. So when you spend more, that person also spends more. It will come cyclically back to you, and that rotation is what the whole economy is all about. So economy is all about the circulation of that money. And in India, there is a lot of potential. From where we were 20 years back, we have grown big time, but the potential is huge. I mean, we still can grow up another 10 times because we are nowhere near the American economy or Chinese economy. So there is potential for real growth, and this real growth will stem from consumption. Say, for example, if I look at how we have been seeing loan growth or credit growth in the last few years. Till 2019, the credit growth has been increased, but over the pandemic period, there is a reduction in the credit growth. But we are very hopeful that things will pick up quickly and we'll be back to normal. I don't think it's an inflation. The potential is real, and we are a very young country, and there is a lot of potential in. I mean, it all depends on how each and everyone is going to skill ourselves and contribute to the economy. So, like for example, we talked about a lot of these technologies. One of the things which I struggle is to hire people who have clear understanding of the underlying technologies. There is a shortage of people with real skills. There are a lot of people with degrees, but who are not really employable, and those are the real challenges. So the growth of our economy really depends on how well we skill our people, how well everybody contributes and grows along with the economy. That was a very long-winded answer. Hope I answered you.
Sorry, my mic was muted. So
Okay.
I do agree that we have the potential, but of course the lack of employment or the diminishing of the employment is a factor. That's yeah.
So employment is going to be a big thing. I mean, look at these technologies which I talked about. With AI coming in, a lot of our routine jobs, which is more operational in nature, will go away. It's only a matter of time. But at the same time, there are a lot many jobs which will open up. Lot many job opportunities will open up. Where our success depends is, can we skill ourselves to or equip ourselves to ensure that we qualify for those new jobs. So the nature of our jobs are changing, and unless we really equip ourselves, it's not going to help us. So I mean, what I'm reading is that in the coming years, right, in the next 30-40 years, it's our careers will no longer remain the same. Earlier my father had a career of 35 years all throughout with one company. I'm working with multiple companies doing different things. But with the next generation, what I'm hearing is they will have to go through 2 or 3 different careers within their lifetime. So they will have to learn, forget, learn, forget. So 2 or 3 cycles. So earlier we think, okay, we get a college degree, we can come to the economy and start earning. But that's going to change. And it's like you have to continuously learn. And unless we continuously learn, it is very difficult to stay relevant and be part of that economy. Otherwise, we will be outside on the rings or the far outside of the court.
Yeah, thank you. That's clear. That's clear. Thank you. So, any more questions?
Is it learn, forget, or learn, apply?
What is that?
Is it learn and forget, or learn and apply to the next job?
I didn't use that word. Yes, learn, contribute, and then forget, and then you have to again.
Instead of forgetting, you can apply that experience to the next one.
Yes, of course.
Value addition.
Of course. That is true.
So, Salil, you were mentioning about Microsoft Azure and such commercial products used in a company. What is your confidence in open source products, and how do you rate them vis-a-vis commercial products? Because open source products are seen to be more. I don't know. What is your evaluation? Why do you prefer commercial products?
So no. It's again, it's I mean, there is no one truth, right? I mean, there is no rule like, okay, you have to go with open source. A lot depends on what exactly is the capability that you want. So there are many cloud capabilities, and open source as such will not be coming up with cloud capabilities. That's not where things are heading to. But there are a lot more fundamental capabilities which open source is giving, which we have to leverage in a big way. So for example, Apache has come up with a lot of offerings. So the web server being the biggest one. There is the whole Java framework. There are a lot more open source software which we can really leverage on. So for example, the database, relational database like Postgres or MySQL. So these capabilities are real. And in I myself, in my company, we use a lot of these open source capabilities. What I have generally observed is these open source technologies have a limited scale. They all grapple with the problem of scale. So the moment the business crosses a certain threshold, it becomes difficult to continue with the same technology stacks. So that is when we have to really look at a commercial software like an Oracle or even MSQL or any of those. Linux has completely come up with the whole ecosystem. So Linux, Apache's, lot of software are really credible, and it makes a lot of sense to use that, especially for startups. And there is no hard and fast rule that Microsoft is the way to go, or open source is the way to go. A lot depends on what exactly is that you want to achieve and what is the best way to achieve. And my suggestion is to evaluate both open source and commercially available software and then take a guarded call on that.
Thank you. Do you believe that more eyeballs make the bugs shallower? Open source mantra? No, not necessarily.
Not
Because-
necessarily.
No.
Not necessarily. Especially, see, this is from an Indian context. I'm seeing that we generally are not contributing. So I'll tell an example of a software called MyFOS. So MyFOS is actually an open source software which helps in loan management, the whole lending process. So it was part of that Grameen Foundation whose job was to work, I mean, who were working in the financial inclusion space. So what has happened is MyFOS has, I mean, they were trying to continue the development and make it available in as an open source community edition. But over a period, a lot of companies have taken that open source software, made some changes, and converted into a licensed product in India. So and nobody is contributing back. Everybody takes the source code, builds on that, and sells it as a license or as a service. Whereas nobody is contributing back to that, and that has really caused a lot of problem. Recently, Apache has taken it and rebranded it as Fineract, and Google is spending a lot of time. But what I'm generally observing is we in India are not really good at contributing back to this in a big way. We are only looking at what is in it for me. Okay, I'll do a student project. I'll get into some Google Summer of Code and then get a job in Google. That is my intention of contributing or fixing 5 bugs in Fineract. And then it is left there. I've been struggling. I've been toying with this idea of using that for like 2 years. I'm still not able to use it because it's still buggy and no, there is no clear ownership, and I don't see it really changing in a big way. So I keep mulling how I can leverage on that and contribute back because there is a lot of potential.
Great, thank you.
One last question, sir. So is there a possibility for our university to get in connect with your firm for any sort of a remote internship? Because I found, you're very much, your thoughts very much align with the thought level of discussion which is happening there at the university. So we represent the University of Kerala, and the head of the department is Dr. Chushma Nair. So is there any possibility for us to get connect with your firm,
Yes, can definitely.
Okay, thank you. So,
We keep doing. We typically, since we are a Chennai-based company and we are next door to IIT Madras, so we get a lot of interns from IIT Madras every year. But yeah, we can look at that. Not at all a problem.
Okay. I'll mail separately. Thank you.
Yeah.
One more question from my side. So when everything is digitized or incorporating technology into our day-to-day life, like Amazon, or you have mentioned some examples. So what is the weightage given to this privacy or security by these firms? I know that there are limitations, but as you are a person who have offered these kinds of products and services, I am asking this out of my curiosity because to know how much weightage you will be giving, you people will be giving to these factors. Because it is all for the sake of personal convenience. That's what we are saying. When it is digitized, we are saying that it is for the personal convenience.
Correct.
So when making it personal, will our life be out of a personal? That's the question.
I mean, these are highly, I mean, it's a very, not exactly a technology question. I think it's more of a philosophy, somewhere in the between, right?
Yeah,
The point is, this is my
it's
view.
there.
Okay, my view is privacy. I don't know how much of privacy men really had if you go back 1,000 years, 2,000. I mean, and what exactly privacy means? What should be really private and what should be public? Is it, see, when in an online interconnected world, everything is going to be out in the public, and that's, as a person, I should know that. So, for example, today I'm talking in this forum, and this is going to be a very public forum, right? Things will, and not just this is getting recorded, and this might be 100 years from now, 50 years from now. It's always available, right? And the whole thing of privacy is very, I mean, very personal is my view. I mean, if you think something shouldn't be public, I think you have to be very careful with using all these new age technology. Say, for example, mobile can track you where you are, how much time you have spent at what location. So if you basically enable your position GPS and you enable the tracker, all that data is available in real time. Look at the positive potential, positive possibilities. Um, so as more and more data is collected, um, there is a lot more. I mean, the system, or the system can play God. I mean, we all think that, however personalities, we think God is watching us. There is, that way, there is nothing private. And the way things are changing is, as more and more data is getting collected and moving to the cloud itself can play God. By saying playing God, all the facts are out there. So if we really leverage on that, this can help in reducing crime. This can help in a more peaceful, better life tomorrow. That's the way I would like to look at it. But it's highly debatable. It always has two sides. We always think, what if this data is with some central authority who can then be very vindictive? All that possibilities are also.
Okay, but will it be a concern for you or your organization or any other organizations when providing these kinds of services? Will it be a concern? Will it be a factor when providing or offering these kinds of services?
So we are offering some services to our customers. So we ensure that we capture the data, and we tell them that, okay, we are capturing this data. Like, for example, here, before you log into this call, it says that we are going to record the call. So similarly, we do the same thing. And like I mentioned, when you are in a platform and you are using that service, there is a high probability that everything is getting recorded and kept for whatever reason. So when we look, I mean, we are not consuming. So we as a company are giving a lot of financial services to our customer, and we capture their a lot of their data. So privacy is very important. We ensure that the data is kept private. Only they can see what they are supposed to do. It's not shared with other customers. All that is taken care. So I'm not sure whether I answered your question correctly.
Yeah, sure, it's clear. I agree that it's question that we cannot give a perfect yes or no question, the yes or no answer. So I agree with that. So
Yeah.
I hope that there are no other questions.
Yes.
So if so, I think it's time to thank you for this insightful talk and also for the very interactive session. And as Dr. BGCL was mentioning, it was a very creative presentation. So I think we were prejudiced about the presentation from a person from business or finance sector. That's why we are feeling that it was a very creative presentation. We all enjoyed it. We were not bothered by or we were not feeling bored by any kind of jargons. You made it very simple, but at the same time, very insightful. I'm sure that our student participants who might be the aspirants of technology, as I have mentioned, would already take up some take-home messages from your talk. So thank you so much for sparing your time to share your knowledge and experience with the participants of the CSI Weekly Tech Series.
I just hope the students are clear on.
And thank you all the participants. Thank you for making the session very live. And thank you CSI Trivandrum chapter for organizing such an interesting session too. So I hope, you are getting some messages. Pradosh and then has mentioned said that he is thanking you for the insightful presentation.
You have something to add, Salil?
No, I was saying that I was just telling the students that the point which you have to keep in mind is that this is going to change. There are a lot more technologies coming our way. So be very open and please learn as much as you can, not from a very surface level, get deep understanding. And this is your opportunity where you can really spend time learning. I think technology is here to stay and we cannot wish it away. And unless we really master it, we cannot control and make use of it. So I appeal to every student to ensure that they understand technology deeply. That's all. Thank you. Thank you for hosting me.
Lydia, you can say the formal thanks.
Okay, ma'am. So we have reached the end of this session, and I would like to take this opportunity to place and record our hearty thanks to the speaker, Mr. Salil Nair, for enlightening us with this wonderful session. I also thank Dr. Shilpa Bhaskaran ma'am for sharing this session. I extend my sincere gratitude to all those who joined this session. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.